Welcome to Eurosport. Highlights coverage coming up of the Portuguese Open from the Swatch FIVB Beach Volleyball World Tour 2004. I'm Simon Golding and it's the men's final here in Espinho. The defending champions and World Tour leaders, Ricardo, Alex Costa Santos and Emanuel of Brazil, better known as Ricardo and Emanuel to their fans, against the World Tour veterans, Norwegians NOR Kjemperud and the Viking Hoidalen. Now, Ricardo and Emanuel's fifth final this season out of 5 events, 2 wins so far up against Kjemperud and Hoidalen. This is their first final after some pretty poor finishes, it has to be said, in the 2004 season. 4 times they finished 17th. In the red then, the Brazilians, and at the far end of court, the Norwegians in yellow. The weather conditions okay, possibly a little bit too much wind. That's going to put the ball control skills under pressure. And it's not particularly warm either. And we know that Ricardo and Emanuel don't enjoy that type of weather. Never been a problem for the guys under the umbrellas. How comes the first official then? Mr. Cesare. And Mr. Goncalves of Portugal is the second official. Cesare fast developing a reputation as a very cool referee under pressure, and I know that the players do appreciate that. So Kjemperud and Hoidalen will be starting this match in grey vests. And a presentation to Mayor of Portugal, just to commemorate the fact that he's played 10 years on this World Tour and has been a great competitor. Eventually took the Olympic bronze medal. Some talk of retirement possibly after quite a serious ankle injury at the start of this tournament. But good to see his participation in World Beach Volleyball acknowledged. So the officials just going through the final preparations for this gold medal final here in Portugal. The 5th event on the Swatch FIVB Beach Volleyball World Tour of 2004. Desperately important for the players because of the Olympic qualification points on offer. The top 24 teams scheduled to go through to the Olympic finals. But of course that is reduced because of the automatic qualification for Greece and the possibility of an unrepresented continent having a place also. So really it comes down to 22 places, and from each continent, from each country, sorry, only 2 teams allowed to go through to the Olympic Games. In the red shirts then, Emanuel and Ricardo wait to come out. Final chance in the spotlight for the 2 officials. Kjemperud to the left of your picture, Veigar Hoidalen to the right. Hoidalen, the explosive character in this pairing, the Viking. And out onto the sand comes Ricardo Alex Costa Santos, 2 meters tall, 29 years old, from Salvador, Brazil, the blocking machine as they call him on the World Tour. And he's joined by his partner, the Cat. Possibly the most complete beach volleyball athlete ever to compete in this sport. Emanuel comes out onto the sand, the 31-year-old desperate for Olympic glory. And they are looking to take their 3rd event of the season. But the men to stop them, NOR Kjemperud, one of the oldest players on the tour at 35 years old, from Stavanger in Norway. 1.89 meters tall, so quite a serious height deficit against Ricardo. And his partner, the blocker in this combination, Veigar Hoidalen. And on this deep sand in Espinho, the deepest sand on the World Tour, I think that it's going to be a real problem for Veigar Hoidalen to get high enough above that net to stop the attacking force of the Brazilians. So the Brazilians on the right of your screen, the Norwegians on the left. Going to get this final here in Espinho underway. Best of 3 sets. First 2 sets to 21 points. Sorry if I'm repeating myself here, but for those of you that are new to the sport of beach volleyball, it's a rally scoring system, so every rally counts for a point, and if it does go to 1-all, we will go to a 15-point decider. Emanuel then gets the game underway. Hoidalen is dug, but dug out of bounds, and a good start for Veigar Hoidalen. It's going to be crucial early on how well both the Norwegians establish their side-out game against this monstrous block of Ricardo. It's a steady start from both teams, just out of the reach of NOR Kjemperud, I think one of the best defenders ever to play on this World Tour. And Just slightly underrated is Kjemperud. But the ball hit, curving away from him, made the defence even more difficult than it already was. 1-1 in the first set. Pretty poor serve from Ricardo, just didn't get over the top of the ball to produce any topspin. This is the man that used to be the best server on the World Tour until the court was shortened from 9 metres to 8 metres. And ever since then, he said he struggled to really find his form. So at the moment, the Norwegians fancy Emanuel for the points. At the moment, Emanuel just fancies the line shot. Very carefully put down onto the sand. Oh, that's awesome stuff from Emanuel. A one-handed dig off Hoidalen's cross-court shot, and this is going to be the problem for Hoidalen. Has he got enough in the tank to keep putting the ball away? And Emanuel with a great power shot down the line, but it was the dig cross-court that was impressive. 3-2 then. Brazil get the first little break. You saw Hoidalen drop his head there, took a real look before he jumped just to see if Emanuel was still cross-court. Emanuel's going to camp out there all day because as far as he's concerned, Hoidalen cannot get the ball up and over the top of Ricardo's block, and if he does, Emanuel's got the speed to chase it down. 4-2, Brazil. This is horrible for the Norwegians. Well, it's good play by Brazil to put the pressure on, but Norway not responding. A tight pass, Kjemperud forced to try and knuckle it over first play, and he didn't make it over the net. So a clear lead as we go to the first change of ends. Multiples of 7, the teams change on to ensure there are no condition advantages within the stadium. There's the signals on the block from Ricardo, just telling Emanuel where he wants him to go in defence and where he will position his block. It's line again, no change there. Cross-court dig by Emanuel. This time Hoidalen gets it down, but it's all seat-of-the-pants stuff for the Norwegians. They're right on the edge at the moment. And looks like Hoidalen doesn't want to hit the line. Well, in fact, the ball is put down by Ricardo. Very tight angle on the net, so another point to Brazil. That's brilliant play. Oh, that's a nothing shot from Hoidalen. Beautiful. Right down the centre of the court from Emanuel, straight between the two Norwegian defenders. That is such a tough play to make, and when it's deep, it's nigh on impossible. Great shot from Emanuel, and the pressure continues. Score is 7-2 in favour of Brazil, and a timeout called by Hoidalen and Kjemperud. As usual, always a pocket of fervent Brazilian support in every beach volleyball stadium in every country in the world. And of course in Portugal, where they share the same language, there is a special relationship between the Brazilian players. And the defending champions from last year, Ricardo and Emanuel, many people's favourite for the gold medal in the Olympics, going so superbly well this season, are back in the final and looking to win again. So the end of the timeout, players come onto court, and Kjemperud and Hoidalen needed that. They needed to slow down this game, break up the rhythm of the Brazilian players, and it's up to them now. Will they serve Hoidalen again? If they do, Hoidalen has to come up with a side-out play that is effective. He can't just keep going cross-court inside the block of Ricardo, because Emanuel's waiting for him. Well, he couldn't come up with anything. Beautiful set from Kjemperud, but it just drifted a little onto the net, and this is why they call Ricardo the blocking machine. Look at that, head over the net, just waiting to be fed. 8 points to 2, demolition by Brazil at the moment. More pressure. And out off the block, Emanuel took a look, decided the block was a good target and wrapped it off with the fingers. Drifted out wide, and this is a horrible position to be in for the Norwegians. I think we've all at some stage been in this type of playing position where we just can't seem to get anything working, and it's a pretty horrible place to be, least of all on centre court in the Swatch FIVB World Tour final. Well, this is terrible for the Norwegians. Brilliant play by Brazil, but what does Hoidalen have to do to get a ball onto the sand? Emanuel is reading him like a book. And this deep sand here in Espinho is taking its toll on NOR Kjemperud and Vegard Hoidalen. 2 points they have at the moment in reply to Brazil's 10. And a straight scoring run of 8 points on Emanuel's service. This is incredible. You can see conditions here pretty muggy. A lot of cloud cover, a little bit of wind. Not conducive to perfect beach volleyball, but it doesn't seem to have bothered Emanuel in your picture or his partner Ricardo at all. Brazil lead in this first set, 10-2. Into the net tape, and finally a mistake gives the point to Norway. So that's how they're going to side out, with a mistake from Emanuel. Little smile between the pair there. They know there's a long way to go in this game. Their 106th tour event here in Portugal since 1993, when they debuted on this tour. Only Javier Bosma of Spain can match them for longevity. And the service error at return from Kjemperud. Kjemperud's serving is much better than that, but the wind caught it, dipped it down in front of his shoulder, made it impossible to hit over the net. 11-3. Back to Ricardo serving. Once again, those hand signals. Well, nothing being shown at the moment from Emanuel, and they've decided it's time for him to block. Incredible, isn't it? When your defender is also one of the best blockers on the World Tour. And conversely, Ricardo's defence has come on leaps and bounds in the last few weeks. Oh, to be able to jump that high, that's incredible. So a false whistle there. Vegard Hoidalen thinking he'd heard the whistle, but Cesare, the first official, blows now. Ricardo to attack. It really is too easy at the moment, and this was the worry that I said at the top of this match. The Norwegians simply can't get high enough out of the sand to pressure the attacking of the Brazilians at the moment. 12-4. Brazil lead. Oh, this is ridiculous. What a pick up from Emanuel. Not only does he pick it up, he puts it right on a plate for Ricardo. And Ricardo gets up there and with the minimum of effort puts a beautifully timed spike down on the floor. That is glorious. This is too easy, I'm afraid, for Brazil. 13-4. Finally, Hoidalen gets himself an earned side out, and with it the point. Takes a chance here. Goes straight between the arms of Ricardo and gets a bit of the arm before it goes out of court. Signals again from Hoidalen. 2 fingers usually means a cross-court block. 1 finger means a line block. So the defender Kjemperud will set up on the opposite part of the court to the side that Hoidalen will protect at the net. Well, that's exactly what he should have done. But he ran line. He took a chance there. Tried to run line on Emanuel. Emanuel saw it, like he has seen everything today, and just chipped it back cross-court. There's the space. Mind you, that's a fairly powerful chip into the corner. 14-5 Brazil. And the service error from Ricardo. He bangs that one out of the back. And Kjemperud and Hoidalen trail by a massive margin. This is all about them getting their play back together now. Well, great dig from Hoidalen. There's a start. It's not in court, but at least he made the play. It sails out, so 15-6 to Brazil as we go to the technical timeout. And this is better structure in terms of the rally. Emanuel still unloading. Well, it's Ricardo unloading with the second hit on the power. But at least Hoidalen was in the right place. You have to take some positives here. Once again, Emanuel showing appreciation for the play of Ricardo. He really is a tremendously supportive partner to have on court. Well, stay with us as we go to this technical timeout here on Eurosport. The conclusion of set one coming up straight after this break. Don't go away.
With Swatch.
Welcome back. It's the men's final here on the Portuguese Open, the fifth event on the Swatch FIVB Beach Volleyball World Tour 2004 in this crucial Olympic year. And the World Tour leaders, Ricardo and Emanuel, playing in their fifth final. 5 from 5, good record to start with, but it's not 5 wins from 5. They've only won 2 of them. Sorry, only won 3 of them. So looking to make it 4 here if they can. It's just ridiculous. It's like the net is way up off the sand, close to 3 meters in the air. They just can't get the ball past Ricardo. The familiar flapping arms and timing is perfect, and that forces the error. So Kjemperud and Hoidalen in the grey vests up against Ricardo and Emanuel in red, and it's Emanuel with the serve. He had a 8-point service run earlier on. Oh, there's the pickup line. Goodness me, what power, what pace, what athleticism from Emanuel. That's why many people feel that he's the player that can hold a candle to the legendary Karch Kirai from the USA in terms of his all-round beach performance. And for me, Hoidalen especially and Kjemperud are looking just a little tired and lethargic out there on the sand. I think the semi-final took its toll. Off the top of the block of Ricardo again. Hoidalen's found a little bit of hitting form here. Now, news of the bronze medal match. Benjamin and Marcio Araujo have teamed up again. So Harley has been dumped by Benjamin. Marcio Araujo is back from what looks like a spell of injury. And they claim bronze from Germany's Markus Diekmann and Jonas Reckermann. And that will put the cat amongst the pigeons when they return to form over the coming weeks. But they will have to contend with these guys. Ricardo just hammers one down on the line. Now there's an angle. 18-7 they lead. 21 points the target in this first set. Well played. Kjemperud down the line. Ricardo doesn't react to that one. Big man in defence at the moment. Emanuel, the defensive player, up at the net blocking. Well, needless to say, the home crowd favourites here in Portugal are the Brazilian pairing of Ricardo and Emanuel. Meyer and Brenner, the Portuguese Olympic bronze medalists, unfortunately missed out due to an ankle injury. It was in fact Jean Brenner that was injured. We saw him presented with some flowers at the top of the show. And a nice service ace from Hoidalen. I think it's got to the point where he really doesn't care in this first set. He's just going to let fly, try and get some sort of timing, some sort of rhythm back. Oh, that's massive! Oh my goodness. Ever got the feeling that everyone's against you? This is a huge serve from Hoidalen. That is unbelievable. I wish he'd hit more like that and stop sulking about the size of the court, but this is cardinal. That's a terrible mistake. Hit the tape, had a free pass, he knew it was dropping in, but he chanced his arm and it dropped on the line, and Brazil pick up another point. 19-9 in this first set. Ricardo gets on his horse to chase that one. It's still in play. And that's good from Hoidalen. Well finished from the Norwegians, kept their composure after a brilliant chase down from Ricardo. Covered some 25 metres to get to that ball. And needless to say, at the end of that, didn't fancy another defensive run. Well, that whistling from the fans has confused the Norwegians on a number of occasions, and it certainly put Kjemperud off there. And that gives set ball to Brazil in this first set. Chance to go 1-0 on the Norwegians. It will be Ricardo to serve. No way back, really, for Kjemperud and Hoidalen. Ricardo helps them with a donation of 1 point, which takes it to 20-11. But basically, Hoidalen has to smack 9 aces here. I can't see any other way, and he opts for the float serve. Emanuel tries to cut the ball in half cross court. Doesn't manage it, straight into the net. So we've seen Emanuel make a mistake now. Whatever next. 8 points still the deficit, so 8 set balls as Hoidalen searches around the court for the next one to hit. But I don't think we'll see a repeat. The wind against him, or going with him at the moment, which makes it difficult to really drum that service. So, well, it's a big hit, but that's 10 metres out the back of the court. And the first set goes in emphatic fashion to Ricardo and Emanuel. 21 points to 12. They lead 1-0 here in the final of the Portuguese Open. And that was an impressive performance from the #1 seeds, the World Tour leaders, the Olympic qualification ranking leaders, and their 5th final out of 5 events, and they're looking good for it. We'll take a short break there, and we'll be back with the start of set 2. And I wonder if the Norwegians can try and pull something together. Kjemperud and Hoidalen in a serious hole here. 21 points to 12 down against the supreme players so far on the Swatch FIVB World Tour of 2004. Coming up, set 2. Stay with us.
With Swatch.
Welcome back. Action from the men's final here at the Portuguese Open in Espinho on the Swatch FIVB World Tour 2004. And your picture in the grey shirts, Andre Kjemperud and Vegard Hoidalen having a real struggle in this second set, but keeping it close with the Brazilian #1 seeds in the red shirts, Ricardo and Emanuel. Before the break, I said this second set was coming to a close. Well, it's not. It's about halfway through. 21 points again, the target. But this is much better for Norway. Emanuel prepares to serve once again into the wind, so the advantage still with Brazil at the moment. Now that is a belter of a side out from Hoidalen. Really good pass, then got a tough set off Kjemperud, and leaning back, he did what he does best. He just hammered the ball. And Emanuel had no response in defence. Very good control from Hoidalen there. Good strong wrist over the top of the ball to control it. 2 line blocks signalled again. So Kjemperud should defend cross court. Well, he would if he could get the ball over the net. And this has been the curse for the Norwegians in this second set. They just can't get a serve in. And that will cost them dear. It's bad enough against any team in the world, let alone the #1 seeds. Ricardo then to serve. Big high floater to the baseline. Well, clever change up in tactics. 2 touches called by Cesare on Kjemperud. When you touch the ball in this volley position, you have to contact it simultaneously with both hands. And a nod from Kjemperud indicates he thinks the referee was right. Doesn't make it any easier to accept, but he knows that that was 2 touches. Well played, first official, Mr. Cesare of Italy. And well played, Hoidalen. Good little run from Vegard Hoidalen here. One big hard cross-court drive, and then a nice strong swing away from his body. defeating the block of Ricardo. And the defence of Emanuel. Good shooting from Hoidalen. So the Norwegians stay with the Brazilians. And they stay with their service form. That is terrible. Straight in the net. That makes 5 service errors on the trot. Ricardo with the single hand signal for blocking. That means it's all relatively straightforward. He's going to block line both sides. Emanuel knows that now and will serve accordingly and set up accordingly. Well played, Hoidalen, to hang in there, but the start of that rally, the power and height of the block of Ricardo, perfectly illustrated. Lovely diving save from Kjemperud to keep this alive. And then this is good aggression from Hoidalen. Didn't get a good run on it, but turned it back into the centre of the court where the space was. Tight set from Ricardo, but Emanuel does what he does best. He jumped high out of the deepest sand almost in the world and just a little pokey with the knuckles over the top of Hoidalen's flailing block. So change of ends. The bonus for Norway here is that they have the wind into their faces. That should make serving a little easier, and boy do they need some help there. But it is Brazil still with the serve. Ricardo jumps at ace with the wind behind him. That's terrific stuff. And in the blink of an eye, what looked like a relatively solid performance from Norway has been taken away from them, and the magic little cushion of 3 points has been opened up. That's that for a block. And Kjemperud just checking that Ricardo's okay. He's completely destroyed the sunglasses, knocked the hat off, and that's a roof block of some aplomb. No respect from Ricardo with the hit. Kjemperud can get out of the sand. I think we can safely say they are broken. Just tries to clip them back together. The referee will give you a little bit of time if you sustain some sort of damage to something like the sunglasses. Vital piece of equipment. You're allowed what's called a 20-second sand timeout to try and repair the damage, clean up the broken object and get back to play. Everything's fixed then. 14-16, Norway trail. They've got the wrong server. Score table just indicating that it should be Hoidalen, and that's rather indicative of the fact that these two Norwegian players are very, very tired out there. Kjemperud left in to try and repeat the blocking dose that he'd just given to Ricardo, and a lovely little interplay between the two players there as Ricardo says, "Not this time, son." That was huge. Straight over the top of Kjemperud's block. Just a little reminder of who's boss. Service error from Emanuel again. This has been a scrappy second set after the brilliance of the first set from the Brazilians. 17-15, their advantage. Good serve here from Kjemperud required. Good enough. But Emanuel, with a nice tight set, able to find the sand. Just coming off the arms of Kjemperud. Once again, those open hands will tend to indicate that Emanuel will take the ball. So wherever the ball travels, he will move to that spot to block. That's exactly what he did, but that tends to leave quite a few court spaces open. Really, Emanuel, not a good enough blocker to adopt that tactic. And I'm glad to see Hoidalen taking the opportunity to put the ball away. Again, the height from Ricardo. but he's hit it out. Got nice and high, but over-rotated on that ball. Saw Hoidalen there, I'm sure, in defence, and that just made him think a little bit. And with that mistake, Norway have brought themselves back to just 17-18 down in this second set. They desperately need a win in this set to take it to the third. If they don't, it's all over. The serving problems continue for Norway. Well, standing with your hands on your hips and shaking your head after 7 service errors is not the response that a coach will be looking for. Diving defence from Emanuel, not good enough to stop Kjemperud. And trust me, the Norwegian players are a lot better than their display today. They've played some brilliant volleyball to get to this final, and they will play more brilliant volleyball before this season is out. A season which some people are speculating may be their last. After the Olympics, will Kjemperud and Hoidalen decide to step down from the World Tour after over 10 years as top quality players? So back onto court. The call, it looks, has gone against Emanuel. It seems he may have played the ball. It's called an open hand tip by Cesare, so he's not played the ball in Norwegian space. What he's done is he's opened his hand and just pushed the ball over the net. That's illegal, and it's a good call. That is a tip shot. That's illegal in beach volleyball. You have to either push it with the knuckles to create a clean strike, or you have to hit it with your open hand. And it matters not. Service error 8 from Kjemperud. This is, well, unforgivable at this error level, and that error produces match ball. Championship point 2019 for the Brazilians. Ricardo serves. Well, that was out, but the Norwegians didn't know it. They were squabbling as the ball went over. Poor communication, and luckily for them, it's a point. 20-all. Good comeback. Dear me. Well, I'm sorry, but you do not deserve to take the money if that's what you're going to do repeatedly. You have to, as a professional player, sort yourself out of the service line. And I'm not being too harsh. Serving is almost their only weapon left in this game. But now they find themselves match point down again. 21-20, Brazil. Big shot from Ricardo, back into the face of Kjemperud off the spike of Hoidalen. And that closes the match out here. The Portuguese Open goes to Ricardo and Emanuel. They take another victory on the Swatch FIVB World Tour, and they acknowledge the brilliant support of this crowd here in Espinho. Really a very cold, quiet place for the Norwegians out on court today. No support, no form, very tired after their brilliant semi-final win, and it just didn't go their way. But they'll be back, I'm sure. We'll see Hoidalen and Kjemperud again at some stage this season. But the spoils go to Brazil. Great performance in the first set, demolition of the Norwegian team by 21 points to 12, and then Norway got themselves back into contention in the second set, and what might have been 8 or 9 service errors, direct points given straight to Brazil by Kjemperud and Hoidalen, and they will go back to their hotel rooms tonight and they will rue that fact. And when they sit down and think about it in the cold, hard light of day, they will know that that second set was an opportunity, and they look suitably disappointed. Andre Kjemperud just contemplating the situation, but it was very sporting out on court between the two teams, and a tradition that is part of this Swatch FIVB World Tour. The crowd queuing up to receive a nice sweaty shirt right in the mush, and Emanuel has obviously had a chat with that guy before the final and organised that he will pass his shirt over to him. There he is. He's a wiry guy, isn't he? But one of the best beach volleyball athletes ever. That's all then from the Portuguese Open. Congratulations to Ricardo and Emanuel.